What is up? What is up? What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your man, Jelani JB Bodie. I am back in the building. I know I took a little bit of a break. Look, had to do some family time and everything, but I'm back. I'm back, and I'm here to discuss more and more of what's going on in the sports world. Hey, real quick, I want to say like, subscribe, turn on the notifications, share, and all that good stuff. But I'm rolling solo again. Big Mo, man. Hey, if folks who don't know, if you haven't noticed, we're not in the same building. We're not in the same studio or anything when we do this. So Mo is holding it down in South Carolina. But we know had a lot of stuff with the hurricane and it affected a lot of people. So one of those folks was Mo, as far as like having being able to come onto the show, because power, internet, all that stuff is still, getting worked out. So we look for Mo to be back sooner than later. All that stuff, will take care of itself, and then he'll be back in the building. But get back, Mo. You get back pretty quick, because I know it's a lot of things you want to argue with me about, a lot of things that you disagree with me about, and we miss you, man. We miss you, right? So we want you back. But Mo, he'll get back here in due time. But you got to deal with me for the time being. So let's move into what we came to talk about, and that is sports, right? And one of the biggest things that happened over the weekend or the past few days, NBA trying to gain some steam, right? Step in front of the NFL a little bit. We got some stuff going on. The New York Knicks. Yeah, New York, son. The New York Knicks made a blockbuster trade, if you will, in trading Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo to the Minnesota Timberwolves in return for Karl Anthony Towns. Cat, right? So everybody's been talking about this, and this is right on time, because training camp is right around the corner. Players are taking pictures, team photos, and all that good stuff. And with this news coming out, reports that they have been working on this for at least over a month at this point. We didn't get a Woj bomb because Woj retired. But with this news coming out, obviously, you want to discuss the landscape. You want to discuss the trade itself when it comes to the Knicks and the Timberwolves. So I will say this. I'm not surprised that a trade was done. Once when the Knicks started getting like Mikal Bridges and others, and they re-signed some folks, and the success that they had with Julius Randle not playing, I just thought that it was going to be just a matter of time before that they did make a move. Not that they, don't like Julius, not that Julius didn't like it there. This is the business side when it comes to, to the world of sports. And they wanted to also get themselves a center, because we know Michael Robinson is not Mitchell Robinson. I think I said his name wrong. He's not ready, so they don't know when he's going to be ready. But remember, Karl Anthony Towns, he played for a coach one, Tom Thibodeau, before. So obviously this is a piece that will add. So I'm not surprised that they, traded Julius Randle. Also, I'm not surprised that Karl Anthony Towns got traded, because if you remember in those playoff series, we were talking about Karl Anthony Towns and the shot selection and all this stuff. But other than that, there was one Naz Reid that was having himself a pretty good playoff series last year. So I was not surprised in this. I think they Ant-Man, he doesn't want that to happen. He said he's going to miss, Karl Anthony Towns. But I think the organization was just, look, we're going to go ahead, bump up Naz Reid to step into that role. Add a guy like Julius Randle. Remember, Julius Randle, the knock that's been on him is just maybe his shot selection at times, or they saying the ball stops, with him and all that stuff. But no one will ever question if the man can play, right? The man can play, and he'll add value, to that team in a different manner. They'll play it a different way in Minnesota. So I see for both sides, this is a good move on both ends. I think for the Knicks more than anything, because with the Timberwolves, I think the Timberwolves, with Julius Randle or with Karl Anthony Towns, they'll probably kind of be in the same spot that they would. But I think with the New York Knicks, look, it's going to get unbearable. It's going to get unbearable, folks. Look, you thought 3, 4, 5 years ago where Knicks fans were saying this is their year. Just think, looking at this roster, the way it is currently constructed. You know, you got Brunson, you got Hart, you got OG, you got Mikal Bridges. Now you got Karl Anthony Towns, and you got guys, you know, coming off the bench that's going to put in and play quality minutes, you know, for this team. So the New York Knicks, I told you, anytime the New York Knicks are relevant, NBA is a lot better. And this is an upgrade. This is a step up for the New York Knicks. This is going to put them in the conversation. I'm going to go ahead and put them in the conversation. Some people, you know, I'm probably not, you know, shocking you here, but Eastern Conference Finals. This is my expectations on the New York Knicks. I'm not talking about the finals right now. Not right now. I know that's the goal and everything, but you had, you know, a season to have this past year. Obviously, some injuries and everything. Yeah, it played a part, you know, in that. But with Karl Anthony Towns, with the other pieces that they got, you know, on this team, this is Eastern Conference Finals is what, you know, folks will be looking at. Now, it's other teams. Don't get me wrong. I'm not putting them in the Eastern Conference because you still got to look at what Philadelphia did with adding Paul George. You still got to take into account. Now, they got to play somebody, but you still got to take into account that the Boston Celtics, you know, will be there. But then you'll have another team that will surprise. You got to, you know, question, hey, did Indiana get a, you know, better with that experience? Will they be a team that, you know, you have to worry about? And, you know, others, Milwaukee. So we're still talking about other teams. But as far as Eastern Conference Finals, you can associate that with the New York Knicks as far as like expectations, right? So finally, New York fans can really talk and not be delusional about what they're saying, right? They're like, New York, son, New York, we're going to the championship. We're going to the Eastern Conference Finals, son. We're doing it all. We're going to have 9 All-Stars. Pause at the 9 All-Stars. But you get what I'm saying, right? Basketball is going to be great with the New York Knicks in this spot. The Timberwolves, right? I think they still will be what they are. I think this will force Anthony Edwards to move into the direction that they want him to be. They want him to be the franchise. He is the franchise. Now it is totally his. Right? It is his team. There is no sharing. There is no conversation of a 1A, 1B and all that stuff. It stops and ends with Anthony Edwards. And then you have that supporting cast where you got Conley, you got Nas that we were just talking about. You got Gobert, who's going to be back and others on this team. So they should still be in the mix. And you add Julius Randle, to this. So you get another scorer. You get a guy. There's some ups and some downs and everything, but you have another scorer in Julius Randle, an all-star. Somebody is going to be a professional as well. Someone's going to be able to help with, veteran leadership also too. So it's not like they took on like a project or, a potential or anything like that. So the Minnesota Timberwolves would be right in there. So I like the trade. I think, more than anything, New York needed a center. Because why am I forgetting his name? He went to OKC, if it's OKC or Houston, but and Mitchell Robinson is not available, at this point. So and you got a big that can stretch the court, right? Because we know Karl Anthony Towns can pull up from 3 at any moment, and he's a factor there, right? So. I like it. I like the way the NBA is going to roll out. And Knicks fans, woo! It's going to be a heck of a ride this year, ladies and gentlemen. Heck of a ride. Speaking of rides, man, we were on for a ride this past weekend, Saturday night, where Alabama and Georgia met in Tuscaloosa. And watching this game, oh my gosh, look, it was a bunch of emotions going. I'm not a fan of either one, but I'm just saying it was a bunch of emotions going on. I do have someone in my household who is an Alabama fan, but we're not going to get into that. 41-34, if I remember. Yeah, 41-34 was the score, which I thought this thing was going to be a blowout in the beginning, which it was, and in true fashion, I think he read the script. Nick Saban told everybody at halftime, do not get ahead of yourself, that Georgia can get back in this game, and they absolutely did. And what I take from this is because these two teams you have to think that they could be on a path of meeting again. Might be an SEC championship, possibly, perhaps, maybe, on the line. If my thought process is right, but anyway, this still could be in the playoffs. They could meet. You have to take that into account. This was an excellent game. Georgia. One thing I will say, with Georgia is that being down as much as they were, I think it was 28, almost 28-0, something like that, and for them to not flip the switch, but make adjustments, get back into this game. The defense started, definitely started slowing down Alabama a little bit. And then it seems like, and Kurt Herbstreit was talking about this, is that, things that Carson Beck wasn't seeing before he was seeing, in the second half. This bodes some confidence, and they're not absolved from confidence, or they're not, missing any confidence. But I will say that I think Georgia will look at this and say, we let this one get away. Had we not put ourselves in that deep of a hole, this would have been a different outcome. And we still almost won that game, right? And for Alabama, again, they beat Georgia last year in the SEC championship game. You got a new coach in DeBoer there, and you got the same result in beating Georgia. So Alabama has to feel good about that. Jalen Milroe in that game, he seems like he felt totally comfortable. He believed in everything that was going on. And the one thing that was the constant in this game, and I keep hearing people say the 17-year-old, Ryan Williams, man. This dude is real deal. We got some guys that are balling in college football, and for this dude to come out as young as he is in those moments to be able to perform and make the plays that he was making, this makes Alabama even scary, because remember, we're 4 or 5 weeks into the season. In another 4 or 5 weeks, this kid's gonna, have even more under his belt. So it's going to be, scary, for Alabama. So with both of these teams, somebody had to win, but I don't think either one of them losing was a bad loss, right? I do believe both of them can bounce back and they can still accomplish what they're wanting to accomplish. But we got an excellent game, from that. And I was sitting there watching it, and I was just like, I should turn off the TV. But Nick said, don't do that. Don't go nowhere. And I said, all right, he knows something that I don't know. Let me see what's going on with this. And sure enough, Georgia, I thought they were, going to pull off the upset, but this is why they play the game, ladies and gentlemen. This is why that they play the game. So Texas, Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State right now, I will say, are my front runners, and they're in. I think Georgia's number 5 right now. I think Tennessee might be 4 ahead of them, but those are my 4 Final Fours, if you will, currently. To be in the playoffs and be vying for a championship game. So yeah. Let's talk about some NFL, right? NFL week 4. At this point, we'll be wrapping up. When you see this, week 4 will be wrapping up. But we got some interesting storylines in the NFL. Always parity. That's all I'm going to say when it comes to the NFL, right? So let's start with, and probably the biggest shocker right now in the NFC East. It is not the Eagles or the Cowboys in first place. It is the Washington Commanders. And I think I remember Tim Cowlishaw, actually picking the Washington Commanders to win the division. Still, a long way to go. But just to point out how much a change in coaching, changing culture, changing, staffing, and you get yourself a quarterback in Jaden Daniels, and things, pretty good. So I think that's probably the biggest shocker, is that Washington right now leads the NFC East. I thought this would probably just be a learning process for Jaden. He has had, some things in here, but I think with what Washington did as far as like putting a quarterback in game one and starting the season, and him being the franchise, him being the face, they didn't put too much on his plate, because remember the conversation was him not going downfield. Oh, you're not using Terry McLaurin. That's what he, does well and everything. And everybody was like, relax. We got Cliff Kingsbury. If anybody knows what to do with a quarterback, it's Cliff Kingsbury. And then we saw what happened this past game against the Arizona Cardinals, right? That they went downfield and then they used, Terry McLaurin. So it's a process. And to be 3-1, you're playing with house money, right now on this team. So props to the Washington Commanders for what they're doing. Another props, and I hate to say it, but I got to give credit where credit is due. The Minnesota Vikings are 4-0. 4-0. So if you remember me talking about my division talk, I did not, have them winning the division, but they're in the driver's seat right now. Still a lot of football to be played before we, announce a division champ. But I did not have the Minnesota Vikings at 4-0 at all starting out the season. So, and a lot of this is, we talked about the Commanders with coaching, staffing, and and everything. And same thing, and a quarterback, right? So one thing they did, I didn't have a problem with them getting Sam Darnold. I thought Sam Darnold would start. The words were that Sam Darnold was doing good, and then J.J. McCarthy would, come in at some point, whenever that would be. Could be in the year, could be later on. Obviously, with this start, J.J. would have been still sitting on the bench, at this point. But you got to be happy for Sam Darnold, right? You got to give a kudos, at least until this point, is that he got with a coach who, it's something to be said. And I talk about this all the time, and I'm going to keep saying it. Systems, right? And being able to adjust and being able to game plan and utilize your players to the strong suits of what they do. And that's what they're doing with Sam Darnold. Instead of, trying to get him to do things that maybe he can't do, things that he's not comfortable with doing, fit him into what he does well, and then let him go out there. And as you see, I think right now he's leading the league in touchdown passes. Now, it does help that you got a guy in Justin Jefferson, on this team, but you got to give him credit as well, because TJ Hawkinson is not there, and he has done that and played well and got wins without Jalen Naylor. Not Jalen Naylor. Well, I think Jalen Naylor was out this past game, but then also Addison, which was their second wide receiver, behind, Justin Jefferson, right? They get Aaron Jones, in there. This defense is flying all over the place. Look, Stephon Gilmore is a smart guy. When I first heard that Stephon Gilmore was going to Minnesota, I said, why? Why, Stephon? Why? I got to stop doubting, this man, because he's been every place he's been, they've been a factor, right? And then Brian Flores, I think they might be the number one D or top three. Let's just say that. And that's a really good combination. Really good defense. You got a run game in Aaron Jones, and you got a quarterback who doesn't turn over the ball, hasn't turned over the ball, and is able to utilize his weapons in Sam Darnold and Justin Jefferson and others. So when they get TJ Hawkinson back, then we're really going to be talking, about this, and they're making some noise now. So you better be paying attention. They just had, a game where Green Bay got back into that game, and Sam got them back downfield, and they won that game. So props to, I'm happy for Sam Darnold, right? Because he got a lot of criticism, and everything. So he's having success. I just don't need him to have success against my Lions. All right, Sam, chill out with that. Calm that down. Give us 2 wins. That's the least you could do, man. Help us out. So last, and I talked about surprise teams, and I was talking about the Commanders being, 3-1. Another surprise team for the wrong reasons is going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? 0-4 right now. What is going on? I thought this was going to be the team who was going to rival the Houston Texans in this AFC South, but they are not. They're sitting in last place. Titans got wins, 2 wins if I remember correctly, and no, 1 win. Sorry. At this point, now again, Monday night is about to pop off, so that could change. But then also the Indianapolis Colts has 2 wins. What is going on with the Jacksonville Jaguars? Because you got Trevor Lawrence, gave him a boatload of money. We all know that, but you got other pieces around there. You got ETN. You have Ingram. Now he has missed some games or whatever, but you got Ingram. You got Christian Kirk. You got this new kid from LSU, Brian Thomas, and a few other guys. I think Gabe Davis is down there as well. So on the offensive end, you would think that they would just be putting up numbers, all over the place. But they have struggled. Previous week against Buffalo, they couldn't, generate, anything. I don't know what it is, but I know one thing is that they're talking to Doug Peterson. And then look, people, what do you expect Doug to say? Right? If you ask him if he's on a hot seat, heck yeah, I'm on a hot seat, boy. This thing is on. Woo, I'm burning up. No. What is that going to help? So I'm sure that they probably have had some conversations with Doug and say, hey, man, you got to get this thing turned around, but being 0-4, man, this is not what I expected, of the Jaguars. So, the window is closing. Let's just say that it is closing. It's not totally closed yet, but you had to win this past week, but now there's no if and buts about it. You got to go on a run at this point. Not get one and then we lose another. No, you need to go on a run. They know that. Everybody knows that. I don't know if they can do it though, especially with how the AFC is set up, because they're trying to get into the playoffs. And you look at Houston. You got Pittsburgh, you got Baltimore, you got Buffalo, you got I think 2 teams might come out of the West, Kansas City and maybe either the Raiders or Chargers. So it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight. And then you always got that X factor in Cincinnati, because they got their win as well. And you're going to have a surprise team, somewhere. So Jacksonville, they got to go on a run right now. No ifs and buts about it. I want to jump into college football before we finish up. And Travis Hunter, right? Travis Hunter had another really, really good game for Colorado. They beat UCF, but I think that puts them at 3-1, 4-1, on the season. And he did something in the game that, people have been kind of talking about. You can't see all of it, but the Heisman, right? He did the Heisman pose. His chances of winning the Heisman. Oh, I'm gonna say. Here's what I'm gonna say. He should have a chance. He should have a really good chance. I'm not all for you always putting a quarterback up there, or you some offensive position, that somebody plays all the time. I do believe those guys, deserve the credit that they get, because they have, excellent seasons. Don't get me wrong. But for what someone is doing in college football, where you are playing both sides of the ball at a high level and also at a high rate in these snaps that he's taking, he's barely taking time off on both sides of the ball, and you're still effective. He's still scoring touchdowns. He's still putting up receiving yards. He got an interception and a touchdown this last game. That's not normal. That's not a norm. To me, right now, yes, I would say Travis Hunter should be the leader of the pack when it comes to the Heisman. I know there's a bunch of factors. Look, I know there's a bunch. The season is still long, right? So there's a lot to go on. But right now, today, what is today? September 30th is what I'm talking about. He should be the front runner. if you're going to bump up Arch Manning in some of that consideration after he had one game and now it's two, but with the expectation that they're probably going to go back to Quinn Ewers, Travis is playing from day one, both sides of the ball, being impactful, causing. Last week when they beat Baylor, he caused the fumble. Ladies and gentlemen, that it's not like he's just out there. Like I'm gonna go out here and on Hail Marys I'll play defense. No, this dude is lining up against other wide receivers, man, and being effective, and then going on the other end against their DBs and being effective. So you gotta put him in the front right now. You got to. Who else? Let me ask you this: who else in college football do you think could do that? Not completely match what he's doing, because again, what he's doing is amazing. But what player do you think you could go out there and have them play both sides of the ball at a high level? Sometimes, hey, that one talent comes along that just changes everything, that's disrupting. And I think that's Travis Hunter right now. So that's what it is. That's my thought process. So right now, again, September 30th, got a lot of football to play, but right now I think he should be leading the pack, on that. I normally would, finish up, and I am going to tell you, make sure you like, subscribe, turn on those notifications, because this is, we're wrapping up here. And Mo, we'll holler at you when you get here, but we're going to end it a little bit different because got the word before we came on. A lot of you already know is that we lost Dikembe Mutombo, right? Today or right now, at the early age of 58. It was reported that it was to brain cancer, and everybody has outpoured a lot, about him. Everybody has said a bunch of things, about him, a bunch of great things as well. I have had the opportunity, multiple opportunities to chat with Dikembe Mutombo, and just like everybody else would say, he was a guy. He was funny. He was a guy straightforward. He was a guy. It was just like if somebody talked to him, he would talk back. You never got from Dikembe that he was even though he was all taller than us, above us or anything, or acted like he was above anyone. Made jokes all the time, man. Really cool dude from our interactions that we had. And did a lot of great things in the NBA, and also for people for his homeland as well. We all know about the hospital that he built, and he was just always a guy who was smiling. So obviously here in the ATL, he meant something even more to the city of Atlanta because he played here as well. So he's going to be missed, man, and it's going to be crazy. And prayers out to his family and friends that's out there that's going, through this transition, of him moving on. So at the Wait a Minute Show, we just want to tell everybody, hey, R.I.P. Dikembe Mutombo, man, and we're going to wag that finger one time, and I'll holler at y'all later.